Welcome into the Coach Quad Sanders Show. Michael Westbrook along with Coach Sanders. This is brought to you by Bryant Family Pharmacy as we prepare for Game 3 of the regular season. Second home game, we'll welcome in the Little Rock Parkview Patriots. But before we get to them, let's talk about last week's big game. 45-31, the final over Christian Brothers out of St. Louis, Missouri. Well, Coach, high-powered game, a lot of offense. Was that what you expected out of that one on Friday night?
No, I would like to have held them to a few less points, but that's kind of what I expected with that team coming in. I thought they would be a little bit better on defense, not to say that I guess we're pretty good on offense. But, it's definitely what I expected. The big kid, one of them was actually better than I thought he was going to be. They got the Ohio State kid who we kept in check for the most part. But then the other kid, the 6'5" kid, was our Arkansas Razorback target. He kind of outshined a little bit earlier in the game, and then we got him under control.
Yeah, they had three receivers, actually, that performed pretty well. So what kind of challenge was that for your secondary?
I was definitely huge. It was needed, though. It was huge and needed. At the same time, you want to go against the very best competition you can before you get into the conference season, and hopefully you don't get a chance to see three different Division I guys on the same field at the same time. But it was well needed on offense and defense to be tested the way we were, and then to respond the way we did.
Spoken like a true defensive coordinator, by the way, that you would have liked for them to have fewer points. But that was a really explosive offense. Obviously, they won, multiple state championships in the largest classification there in Missouri. I know it had to feel good for the team to get that one and just now kind of have that behind you a little bit. But that's a huge game going in. It was, people were talking about it statewide in their state, even nationally a little bit.
It's definitely great to get the game behind you. You're playing a state champ from another state, so you definitely want to get the win for the whole state of Arkansas. However, I don't think that's the best team we will face this year.
Okay.
When I say, it may be the best players or the most highly recruited players we'll face, but when you talk about the team aspect of the game, I think we'll face better teams. And I think the one we're going to play Friday is probably a better team in terms of working well together, offense, supplementing defense, and they run the ball and play defense very well. Whereas this team threw the ball and tried to play defense. So it's a little bit, your run game goes with your defense, and that's what Parkview has. And I think a lot of other teams in our conference have the same thing. So I think a few teams in our state could have played with those guys.
Yeah, Parkview last year 20-10. They were the 5A state champs after they played Bryant. They just went on a huge win streak. But just for a moment, let's talk about the offense. I don't want to leave those guys out.
No.
I mean, my goodness, the James Martin stiff arm and 50-plus yard run. You've got Daniel Anderson, a 30-yard touchdown run. Mytorian, a 60-yard catch, something close to that. So talk about running, talk about Jordan Walker. I mean, gosh, it all starts with him, right? And I thought he played a really great game.
So really it all starts up front.
Yeah.
And them big guys up front, man, they did a tremendous job of blocking those guys, and they were huge. They're definitely the biggest team we'll face, and we didn't, and it didn't look like it. It looked like we were the biggest team out there. When you talk about offensively and all the weapons we have, you can't leave out the other guys, the other receivers with Tricky and Rycraw and Carter, because those guys did a majority of the blocking, and that's how it's going to be when you got four good receivers. One night somebody's going to have 100 yards, and the next night the one guy might be a blocker. Especially when you're running the ball the way you do. Daniel and James came up big time. And I can live with that for the rest of the season if that's how it's going to work.
Yeah.
But if you look at all those long runs, you'll see a receiver running in the picture to go block for him downfield. I'm talking 40 yards downfield, and when you got that, then you're working well as a team.
Except for maybe the James Martin one. He pretty much blew past
everybody. Now one of them.
That one was over at the 50-yard line.
Yes.
That was really impressive.
Nobody could catch him at that point.
Matthew Burke out in the class right now. I saw him flexing a minute ago when he talked about the offensive line. I do want to give a shout-out. Those guys put out their first podcast this week called the Frontline Podcast, where they're talking all offensive line. So if that's your thing, we've got coverage there for you. Coach, let's talk about Parkview. Again, like you said, it may be one of the best teams you face this season. And they're two classifications smaller than Bryant at 5A, but Parkview's really good. They've got some of their key players back from last year. I know they're going to be hungry after losing to Bryant last year by just 10 points.
Yeah, no doubt. So what they have going for them, again, is a great running game and a great defense. So you got to be able to neutralize the run game and then take them on some long drives. Try to wear them down a little bit. But they're definitely a good team. It's another championship team. No matter how you spin it or what level or how many kids they have, it's a championship team. And when you play against a championship team, there's no quit. They're not going to lay down. They're going to give you everything you got. So we just got to be prepared to show up and execute, and we'll be fine.
And then, Coach, you're off the next week, so we won't have a show next week. I know you get that early season break, I guess, before the conference play begins. The first one's on the road at Northside. Not trying to look too far down the road, but what will it mean to kind of get a break next week?
The break for me is huge, and the break for the coaches is really huge. The players kind of get up a break on the weekends. They get Saturday and Sunday out, but, man, the coaches, they go year-round. So this break is huge from a mental aspect, not so much as a physical, because we'll still practice. We'll practice hard Monday through Thursday, and depending on how it goes Monday through Thursday, maybe Friday.
Yeah.
But from a mental aspect, it'll be good for everybody's brain just to rest a little bit before we get into the conference stretch. And then the conference stretch can lead into the playoffs. And you don't know how long that's going to go, but you could not possibility of not getting another break, for talking 10 weeks.
Yeah.
So that bye week is huge. You just don't want to go into it with a loss. So we got to make sure we bring our A game tomorrow and do what we need to do.
Coach, I want to ask you personally. I get to talk to the players, and it's really good to visit with them. And basically, they summed it up in one word, that this year is different. What's it been like for you on the sidelines? That's different for you to be down on the sidelines now. And what's it been through just a couple of games? How has that felt for you? Getting comfortable yet?
I think I got comfortable after the first half at Benton. It's definitely different. It's definitely different. Seeing the game from a different perspective, I can't make the ongoing adjustments like I used to because I'm in a different role now. So I'm still kind of trying to find my way, a little bit. And as with the guys, trying to find their way with the new coordinators on the sideline, a couple of new assistants. But it's definitely different. But it's all football at the end of the day, and we'll adjust as we go. And my goal is to just get better as the year go, and I hope it's the same for those guys, just to continue to grow with your coaches on the sideline and then adjust to each other, and we keep rolling.
Yeah, and by the way, Coach, that was meant in a positive way.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. No, it's definitely different. There's no question it's different.
Yeah, different's been the word, though.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Coach, hey, good luck on this one tonight.
Appreciate it, brother.
Okay, if you're watching online, well, then the kickoff is coming up here in just a moment. The Coach Quad Sanders Show brought to you by Bryant Family Pharmacy.